These are issues many Nigerians would love to, have the government speak more on as we move into the new year, 2017. Joining us to look at this is a legal practitioner, Adegoruwa, who's been on this as well as on the call for the resignation of Ibrahim Magu. Good to have you join us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
This, for some, they say it's a boost to the fight against corruption to start with, looking at the whistle-blowing policy of the government. For you, who's been a strong voice in the fight against corruption, is this what it also means for you?
Oh, certainly no. When you have people come out to make statements that have no backing of law, statements that have no legislative support, so you then know that it's a program of distraction. For instance, you look at the source of the statement. I was just beginning to look at the relationship or connection between fiscal policy of a country, managing our resources, how the Minister of Finance has suddenly become the mouthpiece of anti-corruption. And so when you look at the statement that's been issued to say we encourage people to bring information that may otherwise not be available to government, so then you look at the details of what the minister has said. The conditions for the whistleblowing is that that information must otherwise not have been available for discovery by the agency that you are reporting to. In this country presently, what is regulating investigation and detection of crime, because corruption is a crime, is the Criminal Code, the FCC Act, the ICPC, and none of these acts gives provision for whistleblowing. You are entitled to write a complaint, and you will make that complaint in writing, authorized, not anonymous, and submit it to these agencies. And there is nowhere in any law in Nigeria where it's permitted for government to reward rumor mongers.
You call it rumor?
Oh, well, because that's what the Minister of Finance is saying, that look, if you have anything concerning anybody that you cannot substantiate, we will help you take it up from there. And our Constitution grants the right to privacy. You must be careful about how you damage people's reputation. And you know how we have, in the recent past, been taking up government in respect of media trials. Because the solution to criminality is not to make it known to the public at the time of investigation. If you want to succeed in crime, you do your investigation discreetly, intelligence, and get all the facts. In fact, in most cases, it's at the point of trial that people get to know that anybody is being alleged concerning a criminal offense. So when you publicize criminal prosecution, you defeat the ends of that purpose, because the defense, the person that you are alleging, is already aware of your plan ahead of time.
In this case, but it's not prosecution that's being publicized. Just saying, bringing information that you have about someone doing something that's going to affect the government and the people of Nigeria negatively.
You look at the end result. What will be the end result of the whistleblowing is that there will be investigation. That investigation will lead to prosecution. If we're not going to do prosecution, then there's no point. For everything that has to do with corruption, everything that has to do with crime, the end result is always prosecution.
But you sounded like you were not too happy with this move about whistleblowing.
I said that for me, it's a distraction. We're in recession, and it's feared that that recession may graduate to depression. And the person in charge of taking us away from that recession has dovetailed and veered off from managing her portfolio to be pontificating about whistleblowing, and then using the resources to reward those who are able to blow that whistle. So I'm saying somebody just trying to entertain us, to take us away from the crisis we are. People are getting to Christmas, there's no salary.
Let's be clear here. You don't have any problem with the whistleblowing action by the federal government. You don't have any problem with that.
It's wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking.
Yes.
But some of your colleagues have one time, I think around the month of November or the early part of this year, we're gathered in Abuja advocating for a whistleblowing legislation or some form of action to support whistleblowing in the country from the federal government. And yet you say it's wishful thinking.
Now, when you want to do a program that you know will affect us positively, first of all, there must be legislation. And I heard from her saying that there will be legislation. And so you don't do matters like this through press statements. You wait for the period when the legislation comes. We look at the substance of the legislation, the merit of it, and that legislation is not out. We don't know the content thereof. And the Minister of Finance is listing conditions and already divulging the contents of that proposed legislation. So, and that's why I say it's a distraction. Otherwise, if it's something that is a program that is meant to achieve results, you will wait for us to look at the legislation or the draft of it. We look at it. People bring inputs here and there, and then it gets to the Senate. So you don't even know whether the Senate will approve that bill, whether it will be passed, whether Nigerians will support it, and then you just go ahead 2 days to Christmas and say, bring information, will reward you, as if that will replace the salary that is missing.
Do you see this going the way of the EFCC and ICPC Act, where you were told to put in petitions, that at a certain time they came up that your petition must have your passport attached to it, your address and all of that? How does this differ from that, if eventually the legislation goes with it?
What the Minister of Finance has read out to us is that we are handicapped in the anti-corruption war. We admit that the war is failing, or the smoke of the war is eventually blowing off. So we now take it to Nigerians. Help us. Because if there is success in the anti-corruption, there will be no need for a recourse to this wishful thinking method of blowing whistle and get paid. So if that process is going to work, you first of all look at Section 4 of the Police Act. Exclusively in this country, as we sit here, the Nigerian police is granted exclusive right to detect and prevent crime. That is within the province of the police. But the Honorable Minister says, we'll create a web portal, we'll create something you just send. And so that clearly is illegal, because it's not in tandem with the legislation that is in existence presently about detection and prevention of crime. Section 88, 89, Section 99 and 100 of the Criminal Code Act clearly stipulates the procedure for prosecuting corruption.
I think we'll stay on that, so that we'll look at the illegality when we come back. And don't also forget that you also highlighted the fact that this is diversionary. We'll dig deep and see what form of things that you would have loved the government to be talking about at this point in time. That'll be after now.
Thank you.